Welcome to the Stronger with Age podcast,
Because
because aging is just the beginning.
absolutely.
And today, we're diving deep into something I think a lot of people think about, as we get older,
Yeah.
how to keep our minds sharp.
Yeah.
Keep those memories strong.
Hmm.
You walk into a room, you forget why you're there, or um, a name just escapes you,
Oh,
because we all experience
all
those,
the time. Yeah.
and maybe more and more.
Yeah, as we get a little older.
Right. So we wanted to tackle this head on in this deep dive. And we've really dug into a wealth of information from the latest scientific research to expert interviews and practical advice from a lot of leading health organizations.
Yeah, a lot of great information out there.
Yeah. So our mission today is to really kind of, sift through all of that and extract the most effective and, dare I say, fascinating strategies that you can use to maintain and even enhance your mental sharpness.
Yeah, and I think what we found was really interesting.
As you age, right?
Yes, very much so.
So practical takeaways, things you can weave into your daily life, and maybe a few insights that will really make you think.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so let's unpack this a little bit.
Okay.
When we talk about our brains and aging, what's actually going on up there,
Right.
you might have those moments of forgetfulness, and it's easy to worry.
Yeah, it is. And it's true that our brains do experience natural changes over time.
Right.
We might see subtle shifts in size and structure, and these can have some impact on how our cognitive functions operate. Like
Oh.
any complex system that's been running for a while, there's going to be some natural wear and tear.
Right.
But I think one of the things that came through strongly in our sources was that significant memory loss as we get older is generally not just an inevitable part of aging.
Okay.
More often than not, it's linked to underlying health conditions.
So that's a really important distinction.
It's vital not to jump to the conclusion that every time you forget something, that it's a sign of some kind of serious decline. And the encouraging news is that even with the normal aging process, you have considerable power to take proactive steps
Okay.
to support and preserve vital functions like your memory.
Which leads us to the fun part, the empowering part.
Yeah, the stuff we can actually do.
Yeah, the lifestyle factors that are key to maintaining a sharp mind.
Right.
And the first pillar that kept coming up over and over again was this vital connection between our hearts and our heads.
For hearts and our heads, yes, that's spot on. Cardiovascular health and brain health are inextricably linked.
Yeah.
Our sources consistently highlighted how conditions like high cholesterol and elevated blood pressure not only increase the risk of heart disease and stroke, but also contribute to the likelihood of developing certain types of dementia.
Oh.
And one study we looked at specifically found a strong association between good cardiovascular health in adults aged 60 to 78 and better cognitive function.
Wow.
So it really underscores the importance of a healthy heart for a healthy mind. It beautifully illustrates that taking care of your cardiovascular system is a direct investment in your brain health.
Yeah.
So the actionable advice here is clear and powerful.
Okay.
It's so important to monitor and actively work to maintain healthy blood pressure, blood sugar, and cholesterol levels.
Right.
Regular checkups with your doctor are really key here.
Okay. So moving on to another fundamental pillar, what we put into our bodies, and maybe just as importantly, what we choose to avoid.
Yeah.
That's the impact of substance use.
Yes, the Alzheimer's Association and numerous studies are very clear on this. Smoking and excessive alcohol consumption significantly elevate your risk of dementia.
Oh, wow.
So if you're a smoker, prioritizing quitting is one of the most impactful things you can do for your long-term brain health.
Right.
And for those of us who enjoy an occasional drink, moderation seems to be the crucial word.
Right.
The dietary guidelines for Americans provide some helpful specifics there. Less than 2 drinks per day for men and less than 1 for women on days when alcohol is consumed. And they clarify what constitutes a drink, a standard 12-ounce beer or a 5-ounce glass of wine.
Right.
But it's not just about the overall number of drinks per week. One particularly interesting study we examined linked consuming more than 7 units of alcohol per week, which is roughly 4 standard drinks, to higher levels of iron in the brain. Elevated brain iron has in turn been associated with poorer cognitive function.
Interesting.
So this highlights the importance of being really mindful of your alcohol intake for the sake of your brain.
Right. Okay, so let's shift gears to something we often hear about for overall well-being, and it's just as vital for our brain's physical activity.
Absolutely. Regular physical activity is thought to be crucial in maintaining healthy blood flow to the brain,
Okay.
ensuring it gets the oxygen and nutrients it needs to function optimally. It also plays a significant role in reducing your risk for conditions like high blood pressure. which, as we've discussed, has knock-on effects for brain health. And one journal article actually suggested that exercise might even help our brains grow, potentially increasing its size.
Wow. Right.
Plus, they concluded that if we could promote more physical activity among older adults worldwide, we might be able to delay about 1/3 of dementia cases.
Wow. That's huge.
It really is, and the beauty of it is that it's not about suddenly becoming an elite athlete.
Right.
Our sources emphasize that every movement counts.
I like it.
Even incorporating small increases in your daily activity, like taking the stairs or going for a short walk, can contribute positively to your brain health.
So what kinds of movement are we talking about specifically?
Yeah, well, our research highlighted a few particular types of exercise that seem to offer notable cognitive benefits. Aerobic exercise, the kind that gets your heart rate up. Think brisk walking, jogging, swimming.
Right.
This is fantastic because it significantly boosts blood flow to the brain, and intriguingly, it's also been shown to increase the size of the hippocampus, that key area in your brain responsible for forming new memories and learning. And what's particularly encouraging is that these protective effects appear to be strongest in individuals over 75,
Oh, wow. So it's never too late.
underscoring that it's truly never too late to start.
Yeah.
The general recommendation is around 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic activity per week.
Okay.
But even shorter bursts of more vigorous activity might offer benefits.
And for those who might think weight training is just about building muscle, think again.
Exactly. Resistance training or weightlifting has been linked to preventing the shrinkage of the hippocampus that can sometimes occur with age.
Okay.
Several studies have even demonstrated improvements in both memory and overall cognitive function as a result of regular resistance training.
Okay.
The focus on proper form during these exercises really engages those neural pathways in your brain, strengthening those connections.
Interesting. Okay, now for something a little different but equally fascinating, yoga.
Yoga has been shown to improve both verbal memory, your ability to recall spoken information, and visual spatial memory, which is important for navigation and understanding spatial relationships.
Right.
The unique and often unfamiliar movements in yoga help to create new neural pathways in the brain,
Interesting.
essentially forging new routes in your brain's communication network.
Right.
Even dedicating just 1 hour per week to yoga, combined with a short daily meditation practice of around 12 minutes, has shown positive cognitive effects.
And what about the slow, graceful movements of Tai Chi?
Tai Chi is excellent for enhancing multitasking abilities and boosting activity in the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain involved in higher-level thinking processes like planning and decision-making.
Okay.
Research suggests it can improve reasoning, problem-solving skills, and various aspects of memory, even in individuals experiencing mild cognitive impairment.
Okay.
It's a wonderful combination of focused mental attention and gentle physical movement.
Okay, this one really stood out to me, dancing.
Dancing emerged as a particularly powerful activity for brain health. One long-term study actually found that regular dancing significantly reduced the risk of dementia,
Oh, wow.
and remarkably, even more so than activities like reading.
Wow.
It also has been shown to improve cognitive function in individuals who already have dementia.
Okay.
The combined benefits of memorizing dance steps, engaging with music, and offer the social interaction involved all contribute to this significant cognitive boost.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
Okay, one last but important point on movement.
Okay.
Our sources also caution against prolonged periods of sitting.
That's right. Spending excessive time sitting, we're talking about 3 or more hours a day, has been linked to a thinning of the medial temporal lobe,
Oh.
an area in the brain that plays a crucial role in memory formation and is often affected early in memory-related decline.
Okay.
So consciously incorporating small movements and breaks throughout your day is a really valuable habit for brain health.
Good to know. Okay, moving on to what we eat, fueling a sharp mind through diet. It seems like certain nutrients and overall dietary patterns can have a significant impact.
They absolutely do. Nutrients like vitamin E, various B vitamins, and omega-3 fatty acids have all been associated with improved cognitive function.
Okay.
Conversely, a high intake of saturated fats may negatively impact certain brain functions.
So what kind of foods should we be prioritizing?
Well, our sources consistently point to the benefits of incorporating food groups like green leafy vegetables,
Right.
a variety of other colorful vegetables,
Got it.
berries of all kinds, and seafood into your diet.
Okay.
They also highlight the overall positive effects of brain-healthy dietary patterns, such as the well-studied Mediterranean diet,
Right.
and the DISH diet, which is often recommended for managing blood pressure.
Right. And there's a more recently developed dietary approach that's specifically geared towards brain health, right?
Yes, the MIND diet. It's a fascinating hybrid approach, drawing principles from both the Mediterranean and DHH diets, but with specific modifications and a targeted focus on maximizing benefits for cognitive function. It emphasizes 9 key brain-healthy food groups,
Wow.
including green leafy vegetables, nuts, berries, beans, whole grains, fish, poultry, and olive oil.
Okay, that's a lot.
And at the same time, it recommends limiting the intake of 5 less healthy groups: red meats, butter and stick, margarine, cheese, pastries and sweets, and fried or fast food.
Okay, good to know.
Huh.
All right, so we've covered the crucial roles of physical health and diet. Now let's talk about actively engaging our brains directly through mental stimulation.
This is where the concept of cognitive reserve comes into play.
Okay.
Think of cognitive reserve as your brain's resilience, its ability to continue functioning effectively even in the face of age-related or other brain changes.
Okay.
Engaging in mentally stimulating jobs and activities throughout your life can help build up this reserve, essentially giving your brain more bandwidth.
So it's like creating a buffer for our brain power.
Precisely. And it's something you can actively cultivate. Our sources provide numerous examples of engaging activities such as learning new skills, whether it's studying a new aspect of nature, learning to play a musical instrument, or even engaging in smell training.
SML training.
As well as continuing to practice and challenge existing skills, research indicates that these kinds of activities can lead to improvements in thinking abilities, mood, and overall quality of life.
And I came across the term neurobics. What exactly does that entail?
Neurobics is a playful approach to challenging your brain by deliberately exposing it to new and unexpected sensory experiences.
Okay.
Think of it as shaking up your routine in small sensory ways.
Okay.
Examples could include using your non-dominant hand for everyday tasks,
Right.
taking a different route home, or even trying blind taste tests to really engage your sense of smell and taste.
Okay.
The idea is to get your brain working in novel ways by engaging different sensory pathways.
Okay, now our mental well-being isn't solely about what's happening within our own minds.
Right.
Our connections with others and the quality of our rest also play significant roles.
Absolutely. Social engagement is incredibly important for brain health building and maintaining friendships, spending quality time with loved ones. These social interactions are genuinely beneficial for your cognitive well-being.
Yeah, the research on the impact of social connection is quite compelling, isn't it?
It is. Studies have linked social isolation to a lower volume of gray matter in the brain, which is associated with cognitive processing, and to a significantly increased risk of developing dementia.
You're right.
Conversely, individuals with active social lives tend to have more robust gray matter.
Right.
As inherently social beings, our brains thrive on connection and interaction.
Right, and this might be a surprising link for some listeners, the role of intimacy.
Yes, research has explored the connection between sexual activity and cognitive function in older adults. One study found that more frequent sexual activity was associated with improved cognitive function in adults aged 50 to 83, potentially due to the release of certain neurochemicals in the brain, and also because it can be indicative of a more engaged and active lifestyle overall. More recent research has even suggested that greater sexual satisfaction in married older adults is linked to a lower risk of developing mild cognitive impairment or dementia.
Okay, well, let's circle back to more direct brain exercises.
Okay.
What about incorporating games into our routines?
Brain games and games in general can be a fantastic way to test and train various aspects of your memory and cognitive skills. And when you engage in games with other people, that social element provides an added layer of benefit.
Right.
While commercially available brain training apps can be entertaining and might lead to improvements in specific skills practiced within the app, the evidence for them significantly reducing the overall risk of dementia is still not very strong.
Oh, okay, so maybe we should prioritize those old-fashioned board games and card games.
Exactly. Classic board games, card games like Bridge or Gin Rummy, engaging word games such as Scrabble and Wordle, and strategy games like chess and Rummikub are all wonderful mental activities.
That often involves social interaction as well, providing a double benefit.
And then there's a fundamental need that we all have, but perhaps don't always prioritize as much as we should: sleep.
Sufficient high-quality sleep is absolutely crucial for optimal brain health.
Yeah.
For most adults, aiming for around 6 to 8 hours of sleep per night is linked to a wide range of positive health outcomes, including a lower risk of dementia.
Yeah, and I've heard that sleep is when our brain essentially takes out the trash, so to speak.
That's a very apt analogy.
Mm.
Many experts believe that during sleep, our brains actively work to clear out harmful metabolic byproducts,
Okay.
including beta amyloid, a protein closely associated with the risk of Alzheimer's disease. Studies have shown that older adults who consistently sleep less than 5 hours per night have a significantly higher risk of developing dementia.
Oh, wow.
Interestingly, even sleep patterns earlier in life, consistently getting less than 6 hours of sleep in your 50s, 60s, and 70s, have been linked to an increased risk of dementia. Later on, think of sleep as a vital rinse cycle for your brain clearing away toxic waste.
Insufficient sleep has even been associated with a smaller hippocampus, a thinner cerebral cortex, and a reduced formation of new brain cells.
So we've covered a lot of ground in terms of these major lifestyle pillars.
Yeah, we have.
Now, what are some more specific practical strategies we can weave into our daily lives to boost our brain power?
Engaging in lifelong learning is a significant one. Our sources consistently demonstrate a strong link between higher levels of education and better mental function in older age.
Right.
The act of continually engaging in mental exercise seems to stimulate and maintain brain cells and the connections between them, so actively pursue those hobbies you've always been interested in.
Yeah.
Learn a new language or a new skill. Consider volunteering or mentoring anything that keeps your mind actively engaged and curious.
I often feel like I retain information better when I'm really immersed in the experience and using multiple senses.
Yeah.
Is there a scientific basis for that?
Absolutely. Engaging more of your senses when you're learning something significantly enhances memory retention. One fascinating study showed that images paired with specific odors had remarkably high rates of recall,
Mm-hmm.
even when participants weren't consciously trying to memorize them.
Interesting.
So when you're encountering new things, consciously try to engage as many of your senses as possible.
Okay.
What do you see, hear, smell, taste, and touch?
Right. This next point is really interesting. The impact of our own mindset about aging.
Yes, your beliefs and attitudes about aging and memory can have a powerful influence. Research has shown that internalizing negative stereotypes about aging and memory can actually lead to poorer performance on memory tasks.
Oh, wow.
While having a more positive outlook can have the opposite effect, believing in your capacity to learn and improve and actively practicing memory skills is truly key.
Yeah, it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, isn't it?
In a way, yes, if you anticipate that your memory will inevitably decline with age, you might be less inclined to engage in the very activities that can help maintain and even improve it.
Right. Here's a practical tip. I can certainly benefit from being more strategic about how we use our brain power.
Exactly. By offloading some of the routine information and tasks that occupy your mental space, like remembering where you put your keys or keeping track of appointments,
Right.
using external aids such as reminders, calendars, to-do lists, and designated spots for frequently used items, you free up valuable mental energy for processing new information and engaging in more stimulating activities.
And the simple act of repetition is still an effective memory tool, right?
Absolutely. Repeating information, whether you say it out loud or write it down, helps to reinforce the memory trace in your brain. And our sources highlight that spaced repetition, reviewing information at increasing intervals over time, is significantly more effective for long-term retention than trying to cram it all in at once.
We hear a lot about the benefits of mindfulness these days. Does it also play a role in maintaining brain sharpness?
It does. Practicing mindfulness and meditation can help to slow down the constant stream of thoughts, enhance your ability to focus and concentrate, reduce overall stress levels, and ultimately contribute to improved overall brain function and processing power.
Now, this one sounds intriguing and a little unexpected finger exercises for the brain.
Yes. These exercises were popularized by a Japanese researcher named Yoshiro Tsutsumi.
Okay.
The underlying idea is that your fingertips are densely populated with mechanoreceptors, which act as a rich highway of sensory information to your brain's sensory cortex. Performing specific finger exercises can help to improve the connections between synapses, the junctions between nerve cells, and enhance neuron firing.
Like a little workout for our brain using our hands.
Precisely, simple exercises like gently bending your elbows and touching your fingertips together in specific sequences, or rapidly opening and closing your hands while touching your wrists together can be surprisingly beneficial. There are even recommendations for rolling walnuts or other textured objects in your palms, which is thought to help calm nervous tension, reduce anxiety, and potentially have a positive impact on preventing brain aging through sensory stimulation.
And finally, some straightforward memory aids for those moments when we're feeling a bit forgetful.
Absolutely. Simple and practical strategies like consciously writing things down, setting reminders on your phone, focusing your attention on one task at a time to avoid distractions, and learning new information in manageable step-by-step chunks can make a significant difference.
Okay.
And for the common challenge of recalling names, try repeating the person's name when you hear it and actively creating a mental association with their appearance or something they say.
This has all been incredibly valuable information. But how do we discern when those occasional senior moments might be indicative of something more serious that requires professional attention?
That's a critical question. Our sources outline several signs that may suggest memory loss beyond the typical age-related changes and warrant a consultation with your doctor. These include asking the same questions repeatedly,
Yeah.
frequently struggling to find the right words during conversation,
Yeah.
taking noticeably longer to complete familiar daily tasks, misplacing items in illogical or unusual places, experiencing confusion or getting lost in familiar environments, and exhibiting significant and unexplained changes in mood or behavior.
Right.
It's important to remember that the strategies we've discussed today are aimed at supporting and enhancing your cognitive function, but they won't reverse the effects of dementia.
Right.
If you have any concerns about your memory or cognitive abilities, seeking professional medical advice is always the best course of action.
Okay, so to bring it all together, what would you say is the overarching key takeaway from this deep dive into maintaining mental sharpness?
The resounding message from all the information we've explored is that a holistic approach encompassing regular physical activity, a nourishing and brain-healthy diet, consistent mental stimulation, and lifelong learning, meaningful social engagement, prioritizing sufficient and restful sleep, and effectively managing stress are all absolutely crucial for supporting your brain health and potentially reducing your risk of dementia as you age.
It's really empowering to realize just how much we can actively do to influence our brain health at any stage of life.
It truly is. You have more agency and control over your cognitive well-being than you might think.
Okay, there you have it.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes. Bye.